afternoon from Los Angeles, and welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On the show, we're going to be breaking down the chart action for Teradyne and Chipotle, as well as Boeing, all moving on their earnings reports. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Coram here with Ed Carson. And Ed, we were able to see the S&P 500 and Nasdaq hit new all-time highs today.
Yeah, it sort of crept up on us. We've been sort of in a little trading range for a while, but it was nice action, sort of built on as the day went on. The FANG stocks really didn't contribute too much because there was this big tech antitrust probe and some other things. So it's nice to see just earnings and a lot of just solid growth companies really powering ahead. And it just looks really good right now.
Definitely, yeah. It's got to give investors some confidence when the market tide is in their favor, with a lot of opportunities for buying new stocks with some earnings gap ups, which we will be talking about.
Yes.
All right. So speaking of, let's take a look at Teradyne, a chip equipment maker, which gapped up today, closing up about 20% on its quarterly earnings report here. Estimate beating sales and earnings, and it raised its guidance for the quarter. So that's a recipe for some nice price gains here today.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a great move today. This is one of those situations, as you say, earnings gap. I mean, it cleared a buy point, but it went way above the buy point.
Right.
So the entry point would be the opening price here. I think that was $53.50. It may actually be extended or close to it after this point, but it was a really nice move. Yeah, it broke out of there. It also cleared sort of a 14-month consolidation too, so it's a 19-year high. Chips are just doing great. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. They have been on fire all week, really since early June. So, there was a lot of breakouts today, but some of them were lesser names, some stocks that haven't been performing as well. And so this was a real leader. Texas Instruments was really strong. We have Xilinx after the close, Intel on Thursday. SMH still looking great. That's the chip ETF.
Right. We took a look at that recently, a recent breakout, and now it too is at new all-time highs. Well, we kept hearing that chip stocks were going to have a good back half of the year, and here we are in the second half of the year, and they're looking good.
Yeah, a month ago, the people were like, it's not looking so great, some of them, but yes, there's a lot of really good news coming out right now.
All right. Well, we'll be keeping an eye for big movers in this space as they continue to issue those quarterly reports. But next on our list, we want to take a look at Chipotle, which also logged gains on its earnings report, up about 5%. Strong growth on the top and bottom lines, and same-store sales growth. A nice streak here.
Yeah, they rose 10%. It's now same-store sales growth has accelerated for 6 straight quarters, which is really impressive.
Yes.
I mean, Chipotle isn't as much of an expansion story anymore. So if you're going to drive growth, you need that same-store sales growth to be strong, and that's really impressive to have 10% more than a year earlier. The earnings growth strong. It cleared back, retook a buy point. It's a little messy, but the buy point was $749.35. This is a situation on leaderboard. It's been on leaderboard, but they sold their half position and changed it to a call option because they're sort of like actually living up to the advice we often give, which is say, well, maybe you don't want to be holding a stock with no cushion into earnings, but you take an earnings options play, and that's obviously going to work out so far. But that sometimes, because if the stock had sold off, then you just have that little loss, but that would be it. And so a situation, sometimes you go, oh, if only I had owned this, it's now up 20%. Yeah, like Teradyne, but there's other stocks that are down 15% today. So that's just a good way to play earnings, is with call options or off the earnings gap.
Exactly. And it's why it's also very important to have your watch list ready of these stocks that are setting up heading into their earnings report. So that way, you can either go in with the option strategy or just be ready to see when those results come out if we see a gap up.
When there was like 20, 30 decent earnings reports from last night and this morning, you cannot just say, oh, this looks pretty good, I'll just go buy it.
You have to be ready.
That is not a good strategy.
Exactly. All right. Well, last but not least, let's take a look at Boeing. A little bit of a different chart here. And it fell on its quarterly report today, still getting dragged down by the grounding of the 737 MAX here. So Boeing continuing to face some headwinds with this.
I mean, the earnings, it's a little confusing because there's this huge charge that they took. but the revenue fell a lot more than expected. And really it comes down to it, like this stock hasn't formed a base.
Yes.
It really hasn't. I mean, a few days ago they had some positive, hey, we think we're going to get the 737 out, flying again. It's like, oh, well, maybe that's it, but you don't know. And now today some of the comments seemed a little less positive on that front. I mean, don't try to call a bottom or, wait till see it comes back. I mean, presumably at some point Boeing will bounce back, but you don't know when.
Right.
I mean, the relative strength line looks pretty bad. It's near the lows. If you had sold right when that first when the fatal crash happened in March, you could have bought just about anything else and you'd be in better shape than today.
Yeah. That's a good point. Positive news alone should not be your signal to buy. You have to wait for that stock chart action to align with not just the news, but really those fundamentals.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, that's it for today. And of course, we are in the thick of earnings season, so we will definitely have more updates for you on top stocks that are looking good during this time. And we also want to let you know that we have a webinar coming up, how to trade like a market shark in the spirit of Shark Week. So we will give you these 5 buying strategies for bigger profits. So I don't know, we'll have to come up with some puns or something to do with.
I guess we have to.
Yeah, we have to. I'm gonna leave that up to you. That's your responsibility, Ed.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching today, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.